Hi, I'm Paris, and perhaps your family, like mine, is reconsidering spring break plans. Here in Austin, Texas, spring break starts on Monday, and we had some good things planned. We were going to go to the fair, go on all the rides, the amusement stuff, see what they're deep frying this year. Then we were going to go to the Renaissance Fair. Just too much in the way of crowds there now, so we are scaling back. If you are also considering staying closer to home this spring break, I have some suggestions from things that my family and I will be doing over the next 10 days. Suggestion number 1, plant a garden. Can you believe how well my sweet potato is doing, just growing in a cup of water? I've got to take all of these slips and get them planted out in the yard here real soon. I've also decided this year's garden is going to include edamame. I realize I buy a frozen bag of it for about $2 every day that I eat as an afternoon snack. Why not grow my own? Have you still got snow on the ground where you're at? Well, you can get started indoors with something like this, a little Jiffy greenhouse with those cool little soil packs that you add a little water and they puff up. You just put the seeds, whether it's beans, soybeans, it's fun to watch. Plant the seeds in each one and you have 50 plants going in a couple weeks' time. Maybe your yard will be ready to take them out and transplant. Don't have a yard? Well, next week I'm going to be reviewing these 7-gallon canvas bags that you can fill with soil, plant things in, and then you can put them out on the porch at night. If it's too cold, you can bring them in. You can move them to where there's sun, so you can have a garden anywhere. Growing a home vegetable garden, cheaper and more fun than food hoarding, and by growing more food, you're not part of the problem, you're part of the solution. Number 2, board game marathon. You probably have games like this up on the top shelf of some closet in your house. My teenage daughters still like to play these games. We just don't very often because it now takes so long. When they were little, the games didn't take that long because they tended to lose fairly early on. But now, they beat me sometimes. Games can take 3 or 4 hours. Well, now we got 3 or 4 hours. My daughter Roxana won for the first time at Monopoly a few months ago and she still goes on about it. It's good for the kids' sense of self-esteem to be able to win the games, and unlike when they were little and you had to let them, now they can beat you. Number 3, read a book. Have the whole family sit around in the living room and instead of watching TV, read. You can have paper books. Maybe your kids aren't that familiar with these. This is my next read by my favorite author, William Gibson. Haven't even had time to crack the cover on it yet. But if you don't want to do paper books, you don't want to actually go out and go to the bookstore, well, there are Kindles. You can get the Kindle app on your phone. If you don't own Kindle devices, then you can order your books electronically. Or if you have an account at your local public library, like here in Austin, I think most of them offer free ebooks. They have thousands, tens of thousands of books that you can borrow electronically for 3 weeks and read at your leisure. Costs no money at all. Help to bridge the generation gap. Find one of the books you liked when you were younger. Maybe you have it in a box in a closet somewhere. Have your kids read that, and they get to pick a book from these days that they have you read. You can't go wrong with reading, and it's nice for kids to have the chance to read for pleasure rather than having to read something for school. Maybe reading's not your thing. Well, then how about focusing on photography? Do you have actual cameras still in your house? Have your kids ever used these, or have they just used the camera on their phone? How about having a day where everyone in the family takes an actual camera, or if they prefer, because they think it has such high quality, since it's probably an iPhone camera, the camera on their phone, everyone goes out and takes pictures to a theme. For example, you can go to a park where there aren't other people around and there might be some flowers, something out right now. You can go and everyone tries to take photos of that best represent it. And then you can have one of your kids go on their Instagram account, because they probably have 1,000 more followers than you do. And they can put the 4 pictures, let's say there's mom, dad, the sister, and their own photo. They post them all, and they put up a poll asking their followers who best captured the essence of this flower, this location, the clouds in the sky. And they know how to do this sort of thing, and they can have people vote. Maybe you'll be surprised, using an old school camera and your old school sensibilities, you might capture the essence of something better than your kids. Or you can go retro photography with an Instax camera or one of the new Polaroids, the new old Polaroid cameras. These use instant developing film, and they're tricky to remove from the case. You can buy a 10-pack of actual paper photos. You put them in unprocessed. You take the pictures with the camera. They come out and you don't have to shake them anymore, but they develop over a few minutes and you can make a montage of what you did on this day in 2020. Or you can take pictures to put in a scrapbook about how you spent this spring break 2020. Make it a time to remember instead of a time to forget. Or get started on something you know you need to do, but you keep putting it off, and so do I. It's organizing all the thousands upon thousands of digital photos that you've already taken that aren't labeled as to who's in them, what event it was. And you may not even have backups of them. They might just be on some phone left in a drawer for years with the memories and memory cards slowly fading. So take all of that, collect it, put it onto an external hard drive. You can buy these for under $100. And organize. When were the photos taken? Where were the photos taken? What events are they at? Who's in the photos and so forth? Get it in a format like that. And at the end of the week, you can probably, if you have a newer TV, plug this into your TV. You can have it do a slideshow and relive with your family all the great events and times you spent together over the years. Feeling ambitious? Well, how about number 5? Spring cleaning. I'm not going to turn the lights on here in my garage because it is a mess, but boy, would it be nice to park the cars in here again. And you know what it needs? About 4 people to spend several hours over a few days to get it back into perfect condition and have room for 2 cars to park inside. Is that one not going to fly? Yeah, I kind of figured. Well, how about number 6? Instead of trying to fit the cars into the garage, take them out for some day trips. You don't have to go where there's crowds of people. You can go out and follow the highways. Here in Central Texas, it's wildflower season, so we can go out in the hill country, drive for hours, bring our own food, stop and have a picnic, make a nice day of it. You could even combine the road trip with the photography challenge. And lastly, something near and dear to my heart, number 7, stargazing. If you have a telescope, blow the dust off it and get it out into the backyard. If you have star charts, set them for your latitude and the time you'll be observing. But if you don't have them, you don't need them. You can make do with a pair of binoculars. Now these are especially made with big lenses for pulling in lots of light from deep space. But if all you have is just a regular old pair of binoculars, these will work fine too. And if you don't happen to have deep space binoculars or even regular binoculars, these will do just fine. Take a blanket or some lounge chairs, set the family up in the backyard in the evening, and get your phones out, because I'm going to show you a couple apps that you can use to see amazing things with the naked eye. There's what was called Google Sky. It's now called Sky Map. You can choose the things in the sky you'd like it to show you. You can see the constellations. It's daytime out here, but if you could see the stars in that direction, these are what you would see. You can have it tell you where the planets are, the Messier objects. Those are the ones you can probably see better with the binoculars. You can see a little bit of the galaxy shape, or a little bit of a fuzzy patch where there's a nebula. And if you've never gone out with your kids and shown them the constellations in the sky, what a great, memorable thing to do. And if you can't see any constellations in your city because there's too much light pollution, you could combine this with an evening drive out to the countryside where you really can see lots of stars. And this app is called Heavens Above. It shows you the path of all the satellites passing overhead that you can go out and see without needing anything but your eyes. Again, it's daytime here, so it wouldn't show me anything under visible satellites, but under radio satellites, you can see the little marks moving across the screen. When you're looking at visible satellites, you can go out in the evening, and if you can find right where they're showing you, holding this up over your head, you can actually watch the satellites, including International Space Station, move across the sky. And if you've had to cancel your big plans for spring break, I hope you can still take pleasure in the small things. In the end, I think those are the things that kids actually remember the most. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next review.